Hey friends, before I start speaking, request all the viewers here and the listeners just close your eyes for 20 seconds and listen. Experience the silence for 20 seconds. Experience the silence for 20 seconds. Now, you all please open your eyes. What did you listen? What did you listen? Nothing. That's the difference between listening and hearing. You kept hearing sound in your surroundings, but no listening in the words. Since I did not speak, and you were looking a few words from me. And that is the power of listening and hearing. Listening is actually intentional. That is what today I want to discuss and address. We listen with focused mind intentionally, but hearing is unintentionally. Listening is a serious affair, my dear friends. When we are in conflict, we cannot hear. When there is a conflict, we have to listen. And if we don't listen, we cannot resolve the conflict. We need to listen the conflict within ourselves as well. There are a lot of conflict within our heart and mind. There is a fight between heart and mind. We cannot ignore. We cannot hear. We have to listen. We have to listen the conflict between our heart and soul, heart and mind. Similarly, conflict too, we need to listen, and we cannot ignore in any facets of our life. And that is my topic today. Listening, a powerful tool. Be the listener and be the leader. Power of listening makes you leader. Or if you are a leader, you allow people to speak first. In any boardroom, or in any sales and marketing meeting, when you as a head of the boardroom or head of sales, when you are presenting your presentation for a project, you speak more or you allow people to speak more? Do you speak first? Either would not speak, or they would be influenced by your speech, or they would be nodding only on your speaking. Others members would not come with the solutions, but with the problems. They start looking at the leader to come out with solutions, because if leader is speaking more, he is coming out with the problem and he is also giving the solutions while speaking. You are only allowing people to hear. You are actually killed the very purpose of boardroom meeting. Secondly, you have not given the feeling to others that they are heard, their opinion, their suggestions, and heard, and they are discussed. If you want to be a good leader, speak at the end. Benefit is that you allowed people to speak, given them an opportunity to share their versions, made them responsible and important. Most importantly, you made them responsible and important. And eventually, you have listened everyone. And at end of the meeting or at end of the conversation, you form the opinion. And then you are allowing people to listen what you are going to say. We cannot resolve the conflict by hearing. You can only by listening. Most of us have the problem of speaking more than listening. While in the conversation, in the boardroom, or any of the sales deal, best sales negotiations and deals are happen when you only listen. You cannot resolve any conflict or crack a deal when you are speaking more. While we pretend to listen, actually we are forming our sets of questions. Am I right or wrong? When you are having a conversation even in drawing room and four people are sitting where other is speaking, you start forming your set of questions before what he is saying. And that is the problem. We hear what somebody is saying. We hear. We do not listen what somebody is saying and putting his words, putting his versions, even the laughter conversations. When there is a laughter conversation, if somebody is cracking a joke, you are not listening the joke, you are preparing your own joke. You are preparing your own joke to convey at end of his jokes, and that's a problem. You do not retain such jokes. And that is what it is reflecting when we are in the negotiations, or we are in the boardroom, or we are between any problem. Am I right or wrong? And that's a problem. We need to develop art of listening. We need to develop the power of listening. We need to understand the power of listening. We need to develop the skills of listening. Most of the time, our mind is somewhere else and body is somewhere else. Most of people, those who are sitting in this room, their mind is somewhere else. Half of the people, they must not be listening. I am not complaining, but that's true. That's the research says. That is a problem that everyone does it. Power of listening makes you leader. Allow others to speak. Leaders do not speak. Leaders listen. There is a story behind Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, as we all know, is a great leader of South Africa. Once asked, how did you become such a great leader? From where you learned all these techniques to control people, to solve the problem? He said, my father was a chief of a tribe, and I used to go along with him. All others used to sit in a circle and used to speak, and my father used to listen with immense patience and shared his views at the end of listening everyone. That is the art of listening he practiced. He practiced to become a leader. That is why I am advocating the power of listening makes you a leader. Allow others to speak more. There are tens of people, those who are coming here to of their own versions of views. Listen them first before you give your own views. If you have to solve a problem on your own, everything, for every problem, then why do you need people surrounding you and you have called them for a meeting? Leaders listen and allow others to speak. That is what I am advocating again and again. Cloud computing, I said, do not make your mind as a hard disk. It will crash. Use your brain as cloud computing device. Do not store everything. Do not store. The moment you start storing all the stories, you will only influencing your mind. Listen, form the opinion. Keep that all information, all the listenings aside and use them one by one as a cloud computing. Then only you can have an analysis of all the situation. We need to develop this skill of skill. Be active listener. Be active listener. Understand the reflective feeling. And that is how it is important to keep everything stored in your cloud computing device. I am saying there is art of listening, active listening and passive listening. What is passive listening? Is an example when our minds travels to other thoughts while the conversation or while any deal. Then the subject what you need supposed to be, subject where you need to concentrate, you are not, actually your mind is traveling. There is example, if your customer, if you are visiting to your customer and if you are a sales guy, start planning how to sell your services or products while he speaks, while he is giving his version what he wants in his premises to be implemented or in his product or services. You are not connecting what he is saying. You are not concentrating his needs. You are not concentrating on his needs, what he says, what he wants. And you propose your own versions. And most of the time, deals fails, negotiation fails because you are a passive listener. Be active listener. Listen to the speaker, encourage by using the words, "Oh, you're right. Good point, sir, I understand. Sure, I'll do it," so on. Because you're giving ear. It's not that you are fakely you are saying. It is a fake that you are saying, "Oh, I understand." The moment you listen, you will definitely understand. Definitely you will say that, yes, these are bad points, a good point. If there is a bad point, you say that, "Sir, this is not correct. Probably I'll give you some solutions." Because you need to pay 100% attention. Reflective feeling, understand, and then give your service and products. Share the reflective feelings to the listener or to the customer. There are certain tips I would like to give all of you. Let's understand. Face the listener, look at his eyes, face, lips, or whatever. Give feeling that you are paying attention. The moment you look at the person, and if you are looking his eyes, most of the time these body language, face, lips, they will say if he is a serious buyer, if he is not. And also you're giving importance to someone. Maintain eye contact. You need to read between the lines if somebody is saying something to you, or somebody is proposing, or somebody is rejecting your proposal. Minimize the external distraction. Respond appropriately. Focus on subject. Do not talk things which are not relevant at that moment of time. Because if the customer is making his mind to buy your services, probably during that few seconds or in a minute when you are distracting, he may change his decision. Stop thinking while conversation. Stop thinking. Most of the time, when there is a conversation, we stop planning. We keep thinking. We keep thinking our own plans, which usually happens in most of us. Understand the body language. Solving problems together. Let others say all his versions first and problems. Engage the speaker in conversation for outcome. Listeners becomes winner. There is one story which I would like to share here. I'm a consultant. I go to few of the companies, few to my clients. And in one of the client, a managing director was having a meeting on co-workers negotiation, on low productivity. HR manager was there. And they were also discussing the enhancing the productivity. And I was also part of the conversation. I was just keeping quiet and listening all those conversation happening between the managing groups, these strategic partners and players. How the progress on workers negotiation? I said, fine. The managing director said, how the progress on the workers' negotiation will happen. I said, fine, let's move ahead. He loudly shouted and said, what is nothing? Workers' negotiation is pending. My strategic teams are working hard for a few months, nothing happening. And kept on speaking for next 20 minutes in that meeting where all the strategic partners, strategic managers were sitting there. And at the end, he was tired. He asked me, how to do it? Yeah. I said, let the workers enjoy and come back after Deepavali holidays. They would be in good mood to listen to us. And the negotiations on productivity was possible. Let's postpone for a week. He said, good idea. And during that time, I showed my plans. Of course, I discussed with the HR manager and the few partners they were sitting. I made the plan. Actually, I wanted to listen all his version and the problems, what is in his mind, and presented the option of solution in next meeting. Things got resolved when the workers came after the Deepavali. This could happen only because I deliberately practiced the power of listening. I listened to workers. I listened to the strategic partners, those who are sitting in the meetings, connecting to their problems, connecting to their versions and what they want and what MD wants to improve the productivity. Things could happen only because I listened them and then I made the plans. That is the power of listening, my dear friend. We need to practice deliberately every time. At the end, I just want to say this importance. You need to understand and influence someone's mind for any negotiation, for any deal. Connect with the person or group of the people. It helps to build the trust. Connect to his versions and problem. You can give your solutions you can't give solutions without connecting his mind. Getting yes is difficult, but listening to the problem is the golden key to get yes. Get to others' shoes. Give them feeling that you are listening genuinely as if this is your own problem. Genuine listening is not what has been said, but what has not been said. Listen the needs, listen the feeling someone wants to convey, the pain. Then only you can relate to the problems and the conflict between your mind and heart and soul. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming here and participating in this lecture, in this and bearing me for these 15-20 minutes. Thank you very much.